Welcome, everyone. Motion to approve the agenda as presented. Thanks, Bruce. All in favor? All carried. Is there any additions anybody has? Okay, council meeting minutes. Approve them. Need a motion, please?
I will.
Thanks, Richard. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Thanks, carried. Okay, we have Ms. Harvey coming in for Alberta Services Rural Development Network at 9:30. So, Service Board. Who is she? Well, they own the trailers. They own Paul's trailer, but she's with the Health Services Rural Network people, I guess. Talk about rural health, I'm imagining. Get Jamens and Shelby.
Thanks, Bob. Hey, Shelby, how are you?
Good, how are you today?
Good. James passed that on to you. What course you're putting on?
Oh, yes, I have heard of it. Don't you worry.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, we have your report in front of you. Anybody have any questions or comments on it? Anything else to add to it?
Yeah, most of it's on there. Just those going to the conference, you will be getting information here this week with van schedules and timing, and we're just waiting to try to get an updated agenda that they said was coming, and we just haven't received it yet.
Okay.
The hotel confirmations, you'll get those as well, those numbers.
Okay. Okay, can I get somebody to move the report, please? Moved by Mike. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed of any? Carried. SAG Service Board minutes are there for information. Anything under that, James? Shelby?
Just lots of discussion, nothing that requires a request for decision at this time.
Okay,
Okay, I'll ask,
Yes.
James, did you talk anything about, I'm gonna go here with the drought? Because your discussion wasn't, like, what have you got for plans for this drought?
Basic.
I mean, are you making anything? Was it discussed with ASB?
We talked a little bit in generalities. There's sort of limited what we can do. I know Shelby and Bob attended a drought resiliency workshop, and they talked about some different options. The last drought we had, that's when we put our tank loaders in play.
Yeah.
And that, a lot of it's limited on what we can do on the ag side, but unless there's other suggestions or thoughts out there.
Well, I know the provincial government has got a bunch of information out there, and I mean, they've obviously starting to plan forward, and I just wanted to make sure we were. as well.
The information they have, a lot of that's with your surface water and irrigation. A lot of our stuff is groundwater. I know some farmers here are putting in some wells in anticipation of stuff. So a lot of it will come down to individual, what they can do in their operations, from what I know. I know the government's talking about these phases, and it's more with licensing and that. I don't know, Shelby or Bob, do you have anything to add from that meeting that was out?
yeah, no, right now they're in
Stage 4.
phase 4, right? That's called a phase. So if it goes to phase 5, it's a disaster. And that's what you're hearing about on the radio, is that they're looking at, potentially going there depending on snowpack and snow cover. But the things they talked about was, for rurals, is dugouts. If people should be put in dugouts, it should be awareness that you're putting in dugouts right now to trying to capture any kind of runoff there is. The other thing is to do with, on the fire side, is access to dugouts, know locations of dugouts, and have them mapped so that if there is a fire, where water is available, if you can get it. I know in our area there's a bunch of drilling went on last fall, and they struggled to get water. because nobody would, none of the farmers would sell them water off from dugouts just because of the uncertainty. So, you know, and a lot of it is more like it's irrigation, the licensing, whether they're going to restrict some of the licensing. You know, they're supposed to get an acre foot of water. Are they going to reduce that? To do that, they have to change the licensing. The province has to amend the license so they can't get as much water. But as far as you know, workers or farmers in our area, it's because we don't have that. You know, the information is just try to capture as much water as you can.
And we're working on developing here a drought resiliency type workshop for our producers. So I'm looking at March the 12th for that. So that'll hopefully give people some resources that they can, you know, deploy on their own farm, and then they know also what's kind of available to them. So we'll talk about some of the funding available through the water program, and you know, hopefully some dugout development and you know, alternative water sources for people. So that is currently in the works as well as part of our extension series.
Okay.
And the other side of it is not to restrict water use, but to monitor water use.
Yeah.
And we've got a couple of hamlets that we're not, and that I sent an email out to everybody that maybe that's an opportunity to do our portion. Is maybe we should be looking at some of that stuff to try to conserve as much groundwater as we can. Just something you might want to look at. That's all.
Yeah, no, as long as you're got something going, I just don't want this to fly over us and us not be prepared for whatever happens here. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, we should be looking into the well process, because I don't think there's a lot of dry dugouts and slough bottoms. So I think our aim in our area is to try and find somebody that'll buy us a well for watering the cattle. And it's not just our areas, there's a lot of areas. There's 700-800 head farmers down there that are got no water on any of their land they're hauling, right?
And some farmers are doing that already. They have over the last few months in preparing for their operations, putting in some
And
wells.
I think the trick to that is if you're going to drill a well, apply sooner than later, because there's only a limited dollar grants for drilling a well. And then once that's done, there's no. But one thing that maybe we could do is lobby the government to make sure there's enough money in that well drilling program, so that everybody can get their $5,000 worth. I mean, that's a step I think we could do as a council, is to lobby them to make sure that there's money available to that. So don't run money out of that grant money.
Yeah, because they're $27,000 now. They're not 15 anymore. So the 5,000 don't go very far.
No, yeah.
And those of you that are going to the conference next week, there's one opportunity with the Assistant Deputy Minister, the Chairman, and is going to be attending. Also, whether there's a question period or not, the Ag Minister will be opening on that first evening. So
Okay.
if they have a question period, that's something that could be raised at that time as well by council and ASB members.
Okay.
Would ASB then write something to RMA and have it go forward that way?
Yeah, that's well. You could do it. You could do it that way. Yeah, that's.
Well, it could be, well, being that if you guys want that, it would come from council
We
at
want
this
it from
point. Our
public. We
next
probably
meeting
have more. We probably send it through council.
to RMA. Yeah.
And you could do it through RMA with the letter also to the minister. The more information, the more letters you put in front of the minister, the better it is. Okay, anything else on the meeting anybody has? Okay, chemical storage facility. We have a request for decision.
Basically, as per previous conversation, just bringing to council so we go out for prices for a phase 1 assessment, and then once we get that information, a phase 2. And then we'll get better prices once we know what's in the phase 1 and proceed to a phase 2.
I'll make a motion, we go with option 1.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Okay. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
$250,000, I think. I think we got a 200, I forget now, $200,000 grant, I think.
And that paid for the whole thing?
Yep. A few years ago, though.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's yeah, so it's probably double.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning, gentlemen. Okay, we have the Director of Public Works. Reports are in front of you. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Well, we got some equipment back out in the field. We're starting on some reclaiming, burning some brush. Got a few of the crew back from construction to get back into that. This recent weather put a little bit of a turn on some of that work because obviously we want to move that iron at minus 30-some degree weather. It's
Yeah.
a little tough on it, plus starting it in the morning. So looks like we'll probably get back at her here maybe tomorrow, the next day, depending on the overnight lows.
Good. Okay, anybody else have any questions for Preston?
Supposed to get up to single digits next week.
Yeah, yeah, it looks good for next week for sure. Yeah.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve his report,
Yes.
please? Thanks, Oscar. All in favor? Opposed, of any? Carried. Okay, safety.
Good morning.
Morning, Ray.
So not a whole lot of action happening here since Christmas break, but I mean we are still moving forward in all kinds of different things here. Went over the 2023 health and safety statistics for the MD of Wainwright. Presented it to the department heads there at our last management meeting. I have a couple of forms following my report here for your review.
Okay.
Double checking AED systems, just business as usual.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
So, we changed the alert systems on the facilities.
Yes.
Okay, is there any checks? How is it checked? Like, is it checked once a week, once a month? Do we do any checks to make sure it's working? or how does
So
that-
with this new system,
Yeah.
I can actually check it on hand with myself.
Okay.
So what we've been doing now, it's not installed quite yet. It's coming at the end of the month here.
Okay,
But when it does become installed, I mean, obviously we'll go over there. We'll do our first couple of tests on it, just to see that it is
Yeah, yeah,
working.
yeah.
And then again, this one, everything is digital. I'm able to get the notifications right on my phone every time it goes on. Anytime somebody comes in or out of that building, we'll know here on our end.
yeah. But is there any way that you can do an auto test, just like as part of your schedule work that, say, once a week you check it and make sure it's working? So we
Absolutely.
try not to get into those places where when it's needed, it's not working.
Absolutely. I can, I can request that, and we can go either week intervals or monthly intervals,
yeah.
or whatever council wishes to do.
I don't know,
We
what
can
do you
definitely
guys
make
think?
that
I don't
happen.
know.
Yep.
I just think to sit there not working for, I mean, when it's not working, it might not be working for weeks on end.
Yeah.
We should check it every week.
So
Yeah,
once
whatever.
a week,
Just,
yeah?
just send a employee from Edgerton out and check it without telling him. You know?
Yeah, it might end them up.
That might go
Bust a
crazy.
couple windows.
Yeah, might go crazy if that keeps up.
Yeah, what are you gonna put them in the draw? How's your turn this month?
Yeah. So what I can do, I can phone in and we can do actual live test with the agency that's performing the monitoring, and we can set something up on a weekly schedule. I would have to initiate it and do the initial phone call. It's not like 9 o'clock Friday morning we're going to do a test. Like, I would have to actually call in the providers and then set something up that way each week. But that's nothing.
Yeah, I just think that we don't know when it's not. The only time we find out it's not working is when we had a break-in.
Yeah.
So, we
So
can
we're-
do some due diligence before.
Who else would get the notification ring?
So would it
Is there
be-
someone besides you? That's all I was wondering,
Yeah.
if your phone's down, for instance, or went dead or whatever.
So we have 3 lists of contact, and then the 4th contact would be the main office in case all 3. So as of now, we have the management outfit. We'll get the first initial phone. Myself will get the second one if that doesn't go through. And then we have another employee, actually, a director, deputy director of public works.
So these coming in at the same time? Or
One after the other, so that
Okay.
they'll try to contact the management outfit. If there's no response, then they contact me right away. If there's no response, they'll contact the director, a deputy director. If there's no response, they go immediately to the RCMP, and then they'll call the main office here.
At 1 in the morning, not likely to get an answer yet.
I've been woken up a few times, Oscar, with alarms in the morning. It works that way, I guess.
Yeah, I just think as long as it's, make sure that it's tested, that it's working, that's all.
Well, I will do up a schedule where we do this once a week then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on the raise report? A motion?
I will.
Thanks, Bill. Any further discussion? All in favors? Opposed? Carried. Okay, fencing, LR2, Division 1, I believe, Austin.
That's me.
Okay.
I would like to put that fence up. It's a mile of fence. It's creating us a whole bunch of problems in more ways than one. I mean, it's $8,000, but I think it would be money well spent. And the biggest thing is we changed the policy maybe a hair too quick before that project was totally done. So by changing it, that fence should go up. So on that, I'll make a motion that we put the fence up on LR2.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Well, a little information, so because of the change in ownership, we put that, what, half mile in?
A mile.
Mile? So what's the second mile about?
Well, the second mile hasn't been up for a long time, but under the new act, it would go up. And they have put it up in different circumstances. In fact, on that road alone, if they wanted to do it differently without pointing fingers, it could have been done differently, which drew the attention that they all want it. If one gets it, they all want it. Well, 3 got it and nobody else did. So that's without going into a whole bunch of bullshit.
So was there a fence there before?
No, there wasn't, Bruce. There was a fence and he took it down. And then he started saying that I told him that we'd put it up when we did construction, so I went and seen him, asked him, and he told Mike Wildeboer on several occasions the same story. And then I got him again at another place, and I said to him, I didn't tell you that, so quit telling people I said. You know, you fight it on merits, you don't fight it on lies, and I'm not lying for you. So we're fighting this on merits, not on anything else. There was a fence there in 2018, yeah.
Okay, whatever. Anybody got any more questions or comments?
Did the construction move any of the land on that fence line?
No, I don't believe we crossed over into the back slope there. Actually, no, we did not. Mike.
We
confirmed
did a little
that.
bit on the intersection of 899.
That is
And-
true, but
and-
we have a diversion there. We own more property at that end.
Right, but just
So
so.
we actually
You
didn't touch
did,
the
yes, they
landowner's
did
property.
cross over a hair, the same, probably the same amount as they crossed over on the west end, or east end, and they put in a full one there. So that's what makes it difficult unless you go out and see. And like I say, they did it with good intentions. We needed the space, but we didn't take a whole bunch of onto Crown land. and they still got a new fence out of it too.
So Oscar, is that area there, do we need to go in and do some backsloping on it then? Pardon? On that mile there, do we need to do some backsloping? Do we need a backsloping agreement with him? Because that's part of the deal with the new policy, they sign off on a backsloping agreement.
You're right. We can't, we chose as a council, me and Mike and Preston, not to try to go on their land because of the big power poles. And we only went up to them, so we didn't do no back slope, and we didn't cut some of the mounds out that we probably normally would have. And I still stand that was the right decision at the time to make, because I think the one post alone was 250,000 on that corner post, wasn't it, Preston?
They were really expensive to move. I don't
They're
know the
very
exact
expensive
number.
to move, so we didn't want to disturb them in any way, Mike. So, yes, no, they didn't.
So is that still 66 foot, or is that?
No, it's 100.
No, it's 100.
But I mean, don't let the policy confuse it, because in my opinion, the policy's got nothing to do with the policy was done after the road was built and out of there. So, but just on the policy alone, I read it last night, and I don't know if it's worded, in my opinion, the way we wanted it worded, because it said that fence is put up on a back slope, and I talked to Neil about it, all right. But I thought the intention was the fence would go up on 100-foot right-of-way.
That's right.
Well, it doesn't say that in the policy. The policy says it goes up on a back slope agreement. A back slope agreement is different than a 100-foot right-of-way. The only thing I think we've got to fix in the policy, Neil, and I'll go with it after, is you got to put in the 100-foot right-of-way, because you can take a back slope agreement on a 66-foot, and there's no fence. I mean, we don't put fences in on 66, but the way that new policy is worded, any back slope agreement would justify a fence, and that I don't believe was council's intent. Yeah, and that's what, and I read it. I sent Neil a note, and I said I'll go over it with you after the meeting, but we can talk about it here. And I thought the intent was anything we build from now on a 100-foot right-of-way, get a fence. Unless you sign off, there is no fence. You don't want the fence. I think that would eliminate the fence issue in going down the road.
Yeah.
But this fence is not part of the new policy, because the road was built, equipment was, we're long gone. It's whatever merits they bring it forward on is the merits you vote on. I think anyway.
Do you think, Bob, anybody would write it off and say they don't want a fence?
Yeah, I have,
You
I
do?
have, I do, yeah, in fact, I've had agreements where I put in, when I wrote the agreement up, they wanted the fence, and things changed. Some was, same as Oscar's, it was the landowner change, they bought the land, they don't want fences anymore. They want it so they can farm to the ditch. And-
Well, I'm just saying that any of that, obviously, when you have a fence, it improves the value of your land.
It depends,
that's-
Billy, I mean.
What I'm seeing here is that nobody's offered anything else. I mean, you could say, we could possibly offer them for no fence. You don't want a fence, and yeah, I want a fence to improve my land, but is it worth it to offer some funds there just if you say no to a fence?
Well,
Cheapens it for
if there
us.
if there was a fence, and they don't want the fence, they get paid $650.
What constitutes a fence then in that? Is that up and, or is it one of these
Well,
old
I
fences with it
mean,
hanging down and all rusted? I mean, what is a fence?
Well,
We got no definition on a fence there as far as I'm concerned either.
Well, I think that as long as what I've defined it when I wrote them up is if there's post standing and wire on it, it's a fence. I mean, I guess if you want to write a definition, have administration write a policy on what defines a fence, then have them do that. Does it have to be a post every 16 feet with 4 wires on it, or is it some posts with wires on it?
Being able to hold livestock.
Yeah, that's good enough too.
There's a
I mean, it does-
discrepancy between farmers on what'll hold livestock, so.
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah. And is one wire with electricity run
Yeah.
constitute a fence? Like we can go as much as you want on this, but I think the policy, I think we need to fix the wording on it. But as far as Oscar's motion, it's whatever you guys wanna do. So. Because if we're done discussing, I'm gonna call a question unless you want more discussion.
Is this setting any kind of precedence, or are we just cleaning up a bit of a mess?
Well, if you set a precedent, you change it with the next motion. That's what I found out around here.
Just-
Precedent setting doesn't, I mean, it's a guide, but it would clean up that.
You know, that goes back to you saying that we only put them on 100-foot right-of-ways. That's not, that's only if we didn't even do that on the North Chauvin Road. Well, we didn't do it on the 66 on Doug White's road. And there was some controversy over it, so you gotta be, if you're constructing a road and leaving no back slope to put the fence on a 66, we can go in there, but we also defeat the purpose of 15 years ago putting in a motion to go to 100-foot road look if we're building, to leave them at 66 because we still have the snow removal problems.
Yeah, I don't know that we have a motion that says all roads will be built on a 100-foot right-of-way.
How many 100-foots have we bought since we?
Well, we bought a lot of them, but we've done a lot of building on 66 as well. I know Billy's done,
We've done clay capping on, we haven't rebuilt them.
yeah, we have.
Through the slough area.
No, Billy did 4 or 6 miles on 66 right-of-way.
We got about
We
5
did a
out
couple
in my
miles
area.
too, but
So, I mean, it's, yeah. But anyways, I think that's getting into more of a planning discussion, so. What do you guys want to do? Are you done? I'll call a question. All in favor of Oscar's motion? Opposed? Okay, carried. Okay, anything else for these gentlemen? Oh, was our person here?
Preston, are you hanging around here? I do have to speak to you.
You bet.
Okay. Is Christina here?
Yeah, I've seen her walking in.
Okay. Oh, maybe. Okay, thanks, guys. Thank you. Maybe I'll bring her in now.
There's another problem coming up in Preston. I wouldn't run away because I want you to listen to it, is
Yeah,
we have 5 acres.
you were one of the 4, you.
3 years on the land. the other
Oscar,
7 years on
Robin.
the
Yeah, and Billy.
reclaiming
Oh, wait a minute.
the payouts for 3 years. He's putting our
No.
work in, getting yelled at.
Who did Bob vote? Who did Bob vote for? Bruce and I were no.
Thank you, Preston.
Kenny been on holidays? He didn't get any. Kenny.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right. Oscar.
Okay, good morning. I think you know most people are around the table.
I think Kelly might.
Okay, well, let's
they
introduce
might need it
ourselves,
more down there, I
so
think.
Christina knows who she's talking to.
Bruce Cummins.
Richard Waddell, Division 3.
Michael, or Division 2. We all got one, just give it to him.
Go ahead.
Hi, Kelly.
Oscar Buck.
Robin.
Bill?
Okay, this is Christina Harvey with the Alberta Health Services Rural Network. So you wanted to see us for a few minutes this morning, so I'll turn it over to you, and
Great.
You can give us your report.
Sure. Everybody can hear me okay, I think. I'm hearing myself as well, so that's a good sign. So I wanted to first say good morning and thank you for allowing me to come and present for a few minutes of your time today. I'm here, as Bob mentioned, I'm with Addiction and Mental Health at Alberta Health Services. So I'm a health promotion facilitator, which means that I work in community preventing addiction and mental health promotion. So my travels do take me to all parts of the MD of Wainwright. I do cover a few other MDs as well, but I'm based here in Wainwright. But I'm also the chair of Impact, which I've shared the information with you as well. Impact is our wellness coalition in MD. You'll see on this slide some of the examples of some of the things that we've done in the community. And really what we focus on, as I said, is overall wellness within the community of MD of Wainwright. Haley Jones is hoping to come today as well and give you some information in regards to the Armor of Light Recovery Society as well, and she's also a member of Impact. There's quite a few members of Impact as well. So we'll see on the next slide that what really guides Impact's work is the social determinants of health. Many of us look at and focus on those every day, whether we realize we are or not. But part of what guides us, as I said, our coalition is these social determinants of health. And they're conditions that we're born with, we grow and we age, and in which we live and work. And they impact our health and our well-being. The one that we would like to focus on today, and probably many of you have had discussions at this table, is in regards to housing. And so I'll explain further in regards to this. So starting on the next slide, in the past year or more, kind of housing has been a topic of discussion at the Impact table. And with part of these discussions in our community and others, I've had discussions with the Rural Development Network, which probably you are familiar of, and really looking at how do we get a clearer picture of the housing needs in the MD of Wainwright and the service needs as well in the area. And so the Rural Development Network has provided me with the following information that I'll share with you this morning. And the idea is that I'm providing you with this information to look at how we could work together to complete this project for our citizens in the MD. So if we look on the next slide, it asks, what is this housing and needs, service needs estimation? So the national standard for measuring homelessness is really that point in time count. So a lead organization gathers volunteers, they might walk around the community in a 24-hour period and ask people to complete surveys. Often it's complemented with a shelter count as well. But because of the nature of homelessness and lack of resources in rural and remote communities, along with Indigenous communities, it can often be very difficult to get an accurate measure by using this method. So the Rural Development Network has developed the step-by-step guide to really help us estimate rural homelessness in our rural, remote, or Indigenous communities. And so since the launch in 2017, actually more than 50 communities have used this guide. And some examples that they have provided is that how it works is that what is called the service-based population estimation approach. And so what this means is that the data is collected by service agencies. So this, for example, would be FCS, it could be our clinic, and usually it's over about 30 days. And then over that time, those that might have a connection with the agencies are invited to take part of the survey. And this way of doing it really benefits rural communities by, first, it isn't reliant on volunteer time. So those of us that are dedicated to some of those agencies are given training to help complete the surveys and help us complete this, this task. And we know that most rural communities have large geographical areas, so it's hard to kind of reach everybody in a short period of time. But also by conducting the survey with service providers across the community and the 30-day period, really gives us a more of a holistic picture of homelessness in the community, including those that may be couch surfing or have short-term locations that they're able to stay at. So on the next slide, really the purpose of the homelessness estimation is three-part: to provide a comprehensive picture of the housing instability, homelessness, and service needs in the rural communities, to inform policies, practices, and funding decisions on housing, homelessness, and support services, and to elevate and incorporate the voices of people experiencing homelessness in the solutions to end homelessness. So communities that have had tremendous success in measuring homelessness through this methodology. So for example, in Conklin, in 2018, they completed this survey, and Synovus stepped up in creating a 5-year, $50 million housing program in their area in addressing homelessness. Drayton Valley was also able to use the data collected in their 2020 estimation to secure funding for emergency shelter pods. Whitecourt and the Soaring Eagle Support Society used the data to collect that they collected in their estimation to advocate for a closed-down motel to be turned into emergency and transitional shelter for community members experiencing homelessness. And Peace River was able to open up its first emergency shelter based on the needs identified through this homeless estimation. So there's many different examples in our Alberta rural communities where this estimation has really helped promote and provide some answers to this challenging program. But included in this on the next slide is also service mapping. So service mapping is a process of examining what services and programs are offered in the community as well as the surrounding areas. The links between the services communities use, need, and want, and also identifying any service gaps that might exist. It is essentially a more holistic way of understanding and evaluating service use and access in community, and it's an important step in moving towards a coordinated access system. So what would happen, as seen on the next slide, is that it would include participation from community members, service providers, and other stakeholders. It would evaluate whether current services are appropriate for the populations being served. And it would assess whether services are underused, overused, or non-existent. So this type of information will help guide robust conversations in improving collaboration among partners and stakeholders in the community and better position you to address the service needs in the MD of Wainwright. So we'll see on the next slide the deliverables are then a community housing and service needs report highlighting data from the estimation, a service map of Wainwright outlining areas and the community, the whole MD in regards to any gaps in services, and a series of recommendations for addressing housing insecurity moving forward. So the estimated timelines, as we see in the next slide, it's about a 6 to 7 month project. And part of the, I guess, as I mentioned, service agencies would help deliver this, along with members from our Impact Coalition as well. So, of course, we have a projected budget, which is on the next slide, and roughly what they proposed is $21,350. And so, as you see, there's different phases in regards to this. So this is the budget that has been suggested. So then it's also looking at, on the next slide, that kind of the big why. Why do we want to kind of look at this, and what can also this provide for us? So if we look at the next slide, it's not just about this being a social issue, but also about community investment. Looking at cash flow investment, workforce, economic and business investment, as well as community resiliency and sustainability. So if on the next slide, and maybe some of you have heard of kind of that analogy about the three-legged stool. So I think we can all probably agree that almost everything in our communities is interconnected, and that almost everything impacts something else. So in this analogy, you can realize that we can't neglect a leg or the stool is going to collapse. So in this case, the legs are the local economy, the social well-being of residents, and the environment in which they reside. So when the local economy is doing well, naturally we need more workers. Workers often come with families. All of them need access to both private and public services. Those might include schools, healthcare, daycare, professional services, restaurants, entertainment, in which further improves the economic wellness in the community, meaning that we need more workers, and of course the cycle will continue. And of course everybody needs appropriate, safe, and a healthy place to live. So the environment affects everything. So we must address social issues if we want our economy to thrive. But social issues can only be adequately addressed if our economy and our communities are healthy. So what the Rural Development Network really believes is that when we address all of three aspects and have them looking in at balance, so the social, economic, and environmental, this is really key to keeping our rural areas revitalized. Another part of it on the next slide is that cash flow investment. So we know the importance of everyone having housing that they can afford, since it allows them to spend their discretionary income in the local economy. When people are in housing that works with their lifestyle, they will spend money in local stores, on home repairs, home improvements, for example. One thing to note is that when lower incomes tend to spend their discretionary income locally and maybe don't make as many trips out of the area. There can be a misconception that when people receive assistance, that the money will not realize benefits to the local economy or spend it in productive ways. So one study that was issued or seen by UBC in British Columbia, they looked at following 50 unhoused people that received aid of $7,500. The money was predominantly spent on housing, not drugs or alcohol, which often is the misconception. And it was also spent on clothing, food, and transit, along with other important necessities. So cash flow investment is realized in a community when the housing is affordable. Then if we look on the next slide in terms of that workforce investment. So specifically, if we think about the next generation, so our youth, when their family has affordable housing, they can participate in skill development, pursue higher learning, and explore cultural and extracurricular activities that can be employable skills, potential careers, and potential businesses. So if we think about the next generation of workers, it may also, and I'm sure as we recognize, include newcomers. So in 2022, immigration accounted for 75% of the population growth in Canada and 100% of Canadian labor workforce growth, sorry. So it's important to note that discretionary income spent doesn't just support businesses, but also provides employment stability for employees. This is important for employee attraction and retention. Housing ensures employees can succeed in an entry-level position and will stay in the community so that they can grow and advance with the company. Employees with stable and affordable housing will make a personal development a priority. Also, on the next slide, we see that economic and business investment as well. So other community investment is realized on the economic and also the business side. So businesses can gain new customers as new residents move in the community and realize a higher customer spend when everyone has safe and affordable housing. When housing stabilizes the workforce, they will bring skills and develop skills that help businesses expand and attract new ones and encourage innovation. And interestingly, that actually patent activity increases in areas that do welcome newcomers. So when housing is not an issue, community members will explore beyond work with their cultural and recreational interests. And again, new skills and new businesses could evolve. Housing is an employee attraction and retention tool for local businesses, especially when the housing choices that are available, then that encourages employees to stay and build their careers as well as move through the housing spectrum. And finally, if we look at this last slide, the final investment realized is the community resilience and sustainability. So municipalities benefit from housing choice since everyone can afford their taxes and pays on time. So tax streams are consistent and allowing for long-term planning and effective plans. Also can prevent properties from going into arrears and place the burden on municipalities to recover these taxes. Lower the burden on other taxpayers, both residential and commercial, to make up the tax lost on abandoned properties. It affects everyone, and a housing choice is key to a thriving community. People want housing choice, but sometimes they have no choice. Middle income struggle too with finding housing. A recent article in the Globe and News spoke to a massage therapist earning $50,000 a year, but could not secure permanent housing due to inventory and cost. It is a struggle when housing does not match the wages in the area. Also, there's a misconception that affordable housing brings crime and decreases housing valuations. So actually they looked at Orange County in the US, and they found that an average increase of $16,000 per home, regardless of the size, or there was a reduction in violent crime, making the community actually safer. So in the next slide, as I mentioned, Haley Jones was going to join today, but she's been quite busy over the weekend, as many of you may already know. Haley represents the Armor of Light Recovery Society, and they spearheaded the opening of temporary shelter this Friday. So I did speak with her yesterday, and they've had a steady stream of people. There is kind of capacity for, say, 14, and they've had up to 10 in one evening. So it's definitely being used. And when I talked with Haley yesterday, many are looking for connections with resources and how to change their situation so they're not relying on such services. So, and that's part of, again, what Impact does as well, is bring everybody to the table to really work together to improve everybody's well-being in the MD. So is there any questions, which it says on the next slide?
Just to be clear, your 21,350 is for the study itself first, right?
So
Or
it'd
by
be
mistake?
for all the phases
All
of
the
the study. So
This-
it would be the initial, the paperwork, They also have kind of a bank of questions, so we can really tailor the survey to meet our MD.
Okay.
So it also looks at financial strain, it looks at substance use, mental health, overall health. So it can look at a lot of different aspects of it, but that final amount is for the whole project. So that would be the end roll-up data, and they would also come and give further information and presentations as well.
So then after that, then there should be an action plan that comes and then what they want going forward, right?
And how we can work together, yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Just to clarify, sorry.
No, that's great.
So what would your goal be then, Christine, at the end? Are you gonna build everybody a house, or you want an apartment, or what are you looking for?
Well, that would definitely be great. I would love to do that, but I think really what the end result is looking at, I guess, first what is needed. I don't think we have necessarily a good handle on, I don't have a good handle on what is all needed in terms of housing, how many people are looking for housing. We have a general idea, but we're not really sure. Also looking at really bringing the services together, as I mentioned, the service map part of it as well. And again, even though most of this has been focusing on housing, it's really looking at, again, the overall picture, which is part of that service map piece.
So who would own the housing then? Is that?
Well,
are
and
you-
that would be further determined of how that could look. As mentioned in the examples, right, the different communities, for example, I've looked at hotels that aren't being used and how that could be managed. As to who owns that, I guess that'd be further determined as to what would be the best course of action for that.
And so now, just by what you were talking, you're saying there's 10 people in Wainwright?
Right, now that are
Over this last
accessed.
cold spell that looked for
Yes,
a warm night?
yes. And I know that there's I know there's more than that, for sure. And I think part of the challenge, as mentioned in this information, is that some are couch surfing or, finding just temporary, a couple day kind of places. So they would also be really considered in this as well. So, and it's hard to ascertain that. It's definitely easier if you're seeing someone on the street or sleeping, say in a bank lobby, for example. That's clear, but there are other people there that are out there that are harder to reach.
So, this study, is this like an MD, is it just the MD, is it MD, the town and all the villages? Like, how big is this scope?
The whole MD.
So it's encompassing of all the urban
Yes.
areas as well?
Yes, so recognizing that Wainwright, I would say, is the hub,
Right.
right? Recognizing not everybody from Edgerton and Chauvin is in Wainwright all the time.
No,
So what I've also discussed with the Rural Development Network is that we actually go out into those communities and set up time, try to make connections, set up time where if people would be willing to come in and complete surveys at a coffee kind of something, low key. I've also done things, say, like in front of a post office, right? Or you sit in, no frills, or, so I think there's lots of different ways to look at it without just thinking about them coming to you.
so are you gonna make this presentation to all the councils, like in Irma, Edgerton, Chauvin, and the town of Wainwright as well?
I've decided to kind of start here, but definitely would be willing to and would like to present to the villages for sure. As to town, I think there's further discussions that we can discuss with that council as well.
Well, the reason I say that is
Yes.
it's probably because the villages and the town have the houses that are, obviously some empty houses in the
Yes.
MD as well, but
Yeah.
if you're homeless, you probably don't have means to travel.
Exactly.
So, to me, it just makes sense if this is gonna, it would probably be, these people would be put into homes in an urban setting, so they could go find service, they could get services. so that's just where I kind of see it. So it's the 21,350 is the whole budget for the whole MV, the towns and the villages, to do the mapping or the study or
Yes.
whatever you want to call it. Okay.
Yes, because as you're talking, Bob, I think I would also, this could also look at outreach services, recognizing, as you just said, not everybody that is homeless is going to have a vehicle that they're coming and doing. So part of that, I think the service mapping would look at what could outreach services look like
Okay.
too.
Okay, any other questions anybody has?
Yeah, when did Alberta Health start looking after housing for the province?
So I'm not representing housing as
Well,
AHS.
it sure seems like it when I'm listening to you.
So I'm representing Impact. So I do work for Alberta Health Services, but I'm here as Impact, which is our wellness coalition.
Well, you're using Alberta Health Services title here, so I'm wondering.
And maybe that was a miscommunication.
We put
um,
in probably
ours.
$2.5 million to the hospital for Alberta Health. And not the MD itself, but they've raised the money. And that's why I'm confused here. Are we on a housing project or is this Alberta Health? And now you're saying you work for Alberta Health, but you don't represent them here at the table.
So I do work for Alberta Health Services, but I'm currently representing Impact, which is our wellness coalition.
Okay.
So I have various, I guess, roles, I guess.
And it could have been a miscommunication between ourselves when we made the agenda up. If you're not representing AHS, you're wearing a different hat, basically, is what you're saying here, so.
Correct. Yeah.
But I think if you go to those interagency meetings that I've been to, there's so many representatives that are AHS provided, but there's also people that work outside of AHS that could profoundly add information to this study, right?
Absolutely.
Like it's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else anybody has? Okay, thanks, Christina, and we'll have a discussion and kind of figure out where we would fit into this.
Because is your ask straight away this full 21,000 from the MD of Wainwright?
So I have already have $3,000 from a community capacity grant that is actually through AHS.
Okay.
And then I'm also presenting to the FCS board on Thursday as well.
Like a special project kind of thing?
Special projects.
And
Yes.
how much is that asked? Do you have a
I haven't
monetary, just
got
like-
there yet,
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay.
I believe the FCSS board is the one you should be approaching, not here.
They only, yeah, but they only have a limited, they have a limited thing to spread out among several different projects.
Yeah, okay, well, we can have that discussion as a council where and if we see it fit, so.
Yep.
Anyways, thanks for coming in.
No, I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, let's take a break, and 15 minutes or so. here. Alrighty. Accounts. Anybody have any questions on the accounts?
I didn't see anything that jumped out.
I'll make a motion to approve. Just the Amazon thing.
I did see a couple of purchases through Amazon. I'm just wondering if we can get that locally or if we have to go to
Normally we go locally, Mike, but when we save $50, we went the other way.
Okay, we have a motion to approve them. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Okay, financial statements are there for your perusal, and a motion to approve them as presented by administration. Thanks, Mike. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Got your reserves there for your observation. Monthly status report.
Just a minute, I have a question here.
Okay.
Let's back it up a little bit.
You bet. Where do you want to go, Bill?
Well, I'm just gonna find out,
Reserves.
no, I got a new computer here and it's just not being, I think you got, this is, I'll just ask the question then, so.
You got what?
Anyways, we were talking about here the other day, so have we got our accounts locked up, with an interest rate? And so what do we got there? What can we get in our checking account now? I remember one time, it was last year, that you said our checking was higher than than money that we could put in a term or whatever.
Our checking account right now is at 5.65%. Yeah. And we do have 25 million in terms. So some will be maturing in 2024 all the way to 2027. Those rates are anywhere from 5.36 to 5.45. But they
So they actually are lower.
They are, but they were locked in over a year ago when all the sentiment was that interest rates would be decreasing. Then they ended up increasing afterwards. But, yeah.
So now the rates are expected to go down, so what's your next strategy?
They are. I'm currently compiling some interest rates from different financial institutions
Okay.
for GICs.
Okay.
But our interest rate on our checking is floating, right?
It is, yes.
So you can't lock in your checking account. The only thing you can do is take more money out of it, right? Because your checking, you got to have money to write the checks. So you're paid, you lock in X amount at a rate.
Yeah.
So the only thing you can do, and I mean it would come from administration, is to take more money out of your checking account and lock it in, as long as you got enough money to operate on.
That's correct. And that's what we're looking at here. Keeping enough for the short term, whether we do some, say 90-day deposits or even 6-month deposits.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. But
Yeah.
a lot of those, depending on the rates, will be short or will be floating as well. So
No,
we just
that's
have
right.
to look at that.
But when you locked in the terms, the checking account was lower than the terms at that time, correct?
At that time, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
those
I
rates
think
were-
that's.
I'm just looking for the transition period in there, I guess, because it wasn't that long ago that you said the checking was higher than the term.
Yeah,
So I'm
and
looking for the
It
trend.
it currently
it
is.
Probably still is.
It must have been a short little term, as
Yeah,
far as I
the-
can see,
I'm not too sure when
to
that
spin
changed,
around
but
that quick.
It would have been before November that switched around, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all I had. I had a question because I didn't know if that was something that you could receive your interest on your checking account. Is that available to
Yeah,
more
we-
organizations?
Yeah, we
I'm
get-
forgetting, I'm getting on our health foundation and
Oh, okay.
stuff like that. Do we have to carry $25 million in a checking account to?
It does, the interest rates do fluctuate based on the balance of the checking
Okay.
account, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
right now, we're receiving the highest interest rate we can on that checking account, yeah. And we receive that monthly.
Do we have any money in 30-day and 60 and 90-day?
Currently, no. I am looking at putting some money in 90 days, but right now, our checking account interest is higher than the 30 and 60 day.
I realize it's higher, but it is starting to move that downtrend, so we've got to keep an eye on it. But when that starts dropping, your 30 day and 60 day and 90 day will also drop.
Correct, they're all floating.
So, yeah.
Well, I think it's a balance of monitoring the account is all.
Be a new fence in there.
And Tyson, the fire reserve money, you have, does not include 50% of the town shared fire expenses.
Right.
Is that up or down, I'm sorry? What would that number change?
So that will decrease the reserve. We just haven't
Okay.
paid, we're waiting for that invoice yet. So
Okay.
they're waiting for invoices and trying to do
Okay, thank
the
you.
year-end procedures, yes.
That's
So.
for the deployment?
The deployments or?
No, we've paid everything out for the deployments. We've received all money invoiced,
Okay.
and we've paid everything out to the town and
We're
the
just,
villages.
we're just waiting for their invoice
That's right.
for the year's budget, right?
For the Wainwright shared.
Yeah.
Oh,
expenditures.
Which would probably be
So that'd be the
50
building and all that stuff?
well, it'd be yearly budget.
Yeah, everything. Maintenance, repairs, utilities.
As
all the gear.
as per your fire agreement, right?
Correct.
Thank you, thank you.
Where's all the money then that you got there, Tyson, then? Can you help me out there? Where's your reserve money, your bridges, your shop repairs, and so what do you do with that?
Sorry,
The 44 million, what, I think you want to know what portion of that's locked in, right?
Well, or if any. I mean, it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to, I understand you can't lock it in if you're going to need it. If you need a fire truck and you're going to spend it all, so where is that?
So we have 25 million locked in. The rest would be in the checking account. It's
Out of your
just-
bottom number, of your 51 million,
Yeah.
25 million is locked in. And
So
26
due to the timing of when we receive payment on taxes, we will use at least 25 million throughout the year until November 30th, right? So we can't lock in all that money because
Yeah,
we need
no,
money to
I get
operate.
that. Yeah, that's all I was wondering. Okay. No further questions.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good you're asking. That's what, if you wanted to know.
Is that because we don't recognize July as a deadline for tax notices, and we recognize November, so we've got an extra 3 months that we have to take out of there to cover till we get the taxes in? So if that's the case, we could probably have 40 million in long-term if we just move the date of collection.
Okay, that's probably not an issue for today, but we can definitely add that to a later meeting if that's your request.
And the interest on it alone is astronomical.
So
Astronomical.
I've got a little question here. On the rural rec, have we paid the town for this year?
Yes.
So that's already out of this amount? Okay, thank you.
July, they were paid, June, July.
Okay,
Oh, no, this is 24 now.
Well, they won't get it till June.
Sorry, 23's has all been paid. Nothing's been paid out in 24. That's the end of
It's still
23.
gotta come out of this. Okay.
yeah. Come out usually after the budget meeting.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, anything else on finance? Good conversations. Okay, monthly status report. Anybody have any questions? Most stuff is complete. Feeling progress.
On
Hey,
your
yep.
action report, Kelly, under work with the fire department recovers fire funds, and it says working with RCMP, what's that got to do with the fire? Number 2 on that list.
Yeah, that should be complete. That's been done already. That was the charge for a fire that was lit during the fire ban.
Got it.
Okay.
And
Anything else?
the last thing on 894, Kelly, nothing yet signed up.
Nothing yet, no.
Okay,
That'll be today.
tax collection memo, 98%.
That's what normal, isn't it, for this?
No, it's quite a bit higher.
Is it?
I think it was 92 or something last year.
I think it was around 96.
Yeah, it's close to 2% higher than normal.
So So, but even prior to that, it was a little bit lower, so things are, we're quite pleased with that number, definitely.
Good.
Okay. Planning, setting planning meeting, last year was April 12th. Could we have it the first, not the first week of April, but the next week?
Yeah. And what week would that be, around?
I'm tied up on April.
Because I'm gone the first week. of
No,
April.
I won't be here until, I'm gone the last week of March and the first week of April.
Yeah, me too. We're
So-
going together.
Could we move it to like the 9th or 10th of April, in there, to the 10th? That work for everybody?
Yeah.
I don't have
That's
his
the
calendar.
second.
Is that a Wednesday?
Yeah,
We've got 3 employees who are away at a risk approaching
for what days?
9 and 10.
Okay, what
So
about the 11th?
can we move
then?
it farther up?
The 11th is a Thursday, does that work?
Yeah.
11th work for everybody?
April 11th.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it does.
Could I get a motion then to set it for April 11th, Oscar? Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried.
That's planning?
Yeah.
You guys want to have it off-site, or?
No, here it's good, everything's here.
I don't think there's much benefit in going off-site, is
No.
there?
Okay, budget meeting. In late April, early May, what's your guys' wish of time? Good anytime after.
How about near the end of April?
What time's administration?
End of April, early May? 29th?
Yeah, it's a Monday, Tuesday, yeah. Either one of those days good for everybody?
Which one?
Probably the 30th, if it's a Tuesday. Gives everybody a chance to get back to work and get your stuff in.
Okay.
Okay, so a motion for April 30th?
I'll make that.
So,
Be
geez,
easy
all
day.
three of you guys, what, Mike was,
You got it first.
no,
Thanks,
it was
Oscar.
Mike was right. Well, I heard Mike first, so.
That's fine. I can live through this.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed, any? It's carried. Okay, open house, council meeting in April?
Regular meeting?
You want to do it the same? For an April council meeting? 4 to 6. Everybody good with that?
April, what?
It's be the
April 16th.
April 16th. Okay, need a motion?
Yep.
Moved by Oscar. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried.
6 to 8,
Okay, grazing leases.
Bill?
Renewals.
Yeah.
Okay.
4 to 6, sorry.
So the grazing and road allowance lease renewals are coming due after a 5-year term. So these are the previous rates: $1 per acre for the grazing leases and $10 per half mile for the road allowances, plus GST. So there was discussion at some point, possibly at a planning meeting, of looking at reviewing these rates. So council may want to consider that prior to making this motion or have a discussion.
Okay, what's your wishes, people?
What do you pay, Billy, for pasture?
For what, Bruce?
Pasture rent?
Well, we pay, yeah, $1.30
Per day?
per head per month, or per day, yeah.
Per day.
But this is, they want a figure per acre.
Right.
I mean, I think it's too low. I think it,
Doesn't seem realistic to me, but
no.
Just so council's aware, they are also paying the taxes on the property. So, yeah, just you guys are at least aware of that as well.
Which is what, Neil?
So it'd be whatever the tax rate is, because it's based on the assessment. So like, I mean, if you can think of your own quarters for pasture land, they would be paying that. So it's like, if a private person owned that property, right, we would only receive the tax income. But in this case, because we do it, we receive the tax income plus whatever council decides for other one.
Well, what I'm
rates.
trying to figure out is what's that work out an acre? I mean, you
Oh.
give me an acre rate. If a guy's got,
Oh,
he's got 2 acres, what
Yeah.
does it work out to be? Does it work out to be 50 cents and it don't really matter?
Yeah.
I don't care what that.
Yeah, you're right, Bill. It would be adjusted accordingly. And it would be farm rate, like it wouldn't hit a residential rate.
I mean, I know pasture rent, I mean, 4 months or 5 months, right? And then
What-
there's no more income, this is year round.
Well, I was gonna say, what's $150 for the
You know,
quarter?
this is averaged out for the whole year, so.
So a buck an acre.
That's, yeah.
I would say that it's probably between a buck and a buck and a half an acre across the MD for pasture land. I mean, it's more,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's what, well, that's just my point. When Neil threw in the taxes, I'm saying, what's that give us, $1? That's what I'm getting at.
yeah, and I
mean,
just
this-
want, okay, so what are you thinking? Like a couple bucks an acre, $3, $4? I mean, it's.
Well, when was the last time we raised it?
Not since I've been here.
In the same.
And it's not since I've been here. But if you look down, it's gonna have, I mean, it's not gonna have much impact on the on one here, but it's gonna have on your grazing reserves, that's where it's gonna hit. Because, I mean, they're right now at $1 an acre, they're $3,100, so if you raise it, whatever you raise it, you go up
Plus
on that rate,
taxes.
right? So if you go to $2, well, it's 6,000, and if you go to $10, it's 31,000.
We also maintain it, we spent on one of the, on behalf of the Grazing Association, I'll speak because I'm on that one association. We also do all the brushing and mowing out there, which I think on that one MD quarter we spent almost $100 grand between spraying and brushing. So it's not as cheap as what everybody figures.
Do you guys get all the oil revenue off that land?
Yes, that goes with any government rangeland, yeah.
But I mean, that's the idea of the lease, though. I mean, to me, that's kind of irrelevant how much money you spend brushing and fencing. That's, when you take over a lease, that's your responsibility. On every, even if you lease crown land, you're responsible for all the fencing.
Well,
And
it
you
raises
don't,
value of the
yeah,
product
so,
too, right?
but I don't know, it does, I mean, whatever you guys think is fair, a couple of bucks, or leave it, I don't know, whatever you wanna do.
Well, it should go up in my opinion, but is it worth, it's not a hill to die on, I don't really care. I mean, you're not talking a lot of money, so, but I have no problems doubling it.
If you doubled it, you're only going to get $4,000 more.
Yeah, you're not looking at
Yeah.
a whole bunch of money.
No,
doubling.
no, but I just, yeah, no.
Well, somebody needs to make a motion.
I will do that.
And don't you have to give proper notice of sorts that you're gonna do something? No? Just double it?
I think it's, but would you set it for, so would you make it add to your motion, Bill, that you want to have it reviewed every 5 years? Or do you just want to leave it
How's the
blank
motion
as it-
read now?
Well, there is none.
There was no motion? There was no motion? How did we get a motion?
The previous motion?
Yeah, or policy, what was it, policy then?
Well, we review it after every 5 years. It comes to the
Okay.
table every
Okay.
5 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's review it in 5 years.
So you're moving it to $2 an acre? Is that what you're?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, any
Okay.
further discussion?
Just a question, what about the road allowance
That'd be, I think,
as well?
Well, that's part of it to me.
Yeah, so they'd be
So the
double.
road allowance is included in
so they'd be
that.
double as well.
Yeah.
So instead of putting the $2 in, maybe just we double the
Yeah,
number.
yeah,
Is
you can do that
Then
too.
that'll cover everything.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
That would work.
That work
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah.
Double
Would it
fees.
not?
Sounds better to just put a number rather than the word double.
Okay, unless you want to go through them all, then $2.
But then you would have to go with, like Bob's saying, you gotta go through that road allowance plus the
Well-
lease.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we rate the motion, but we just put the rate at $20 and $2, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Neil, I just asked for, would that work, Neil, with the motion?
We can do either option, yeah.
You'd be okay if you got a notice that your rent was gonna double?
Would I pay?
You'd be okay with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, probably not, but if it's went from $10 to 20, I don't think I'd complain too much, but.
Okay,
I mean, when you take it over time and you figure out exactly what they're paying, I don't think. Would you be upset?
If my rent doubled? Yep.
Yeah.
But over time, what?
Yeah.
You're a cattle farmer, so that's why I'm asking you.
Oh. I thought you were questioning my
I am
ability to
questioning
make a
you.
decision.
Absolutely. That's what women do.
Yeah, no.
Okay, well, if we're done discussing what women do, and what men do, and if there's no more discussion.
That's what
maybe
I've
I'll-
done.
Maybe I'll call the question. All in favor of Billy's motion? Opposed? Motion's carried.
I don't want to hear you say you get nothing through. You just double taxes on it.
Okay, there is one thing
Good
on
job,
here,
Bill.
and I don't know, do we need a motion to do it? I need one of them removed from the list. One road allowance taken off, that won't be rented out in the future.
Oh,
So do you need a motion to do that or what? Because I've talked to the landowners, and the reason we're taking it off is because there's a power line going up the road allowance, and I don't want to have any issue with the power company and somebody that's leasing the road allowance to say, well, we're not going to let the power company come on that, power line come on that road allowance.
It's up to council, because that lease will be done at the end of the 5-year term, and we just don't renew it.
What's
It
that?
just expires. That lease will just expire after 5 years.
Yeah, it's-
And we wouldn't renew
yeah,
it, or you
and-
can make a motion.
And I've
It's
talked,
either
I've
way.
talked to the land, and they're good with it. They don't need it anymore anyway.
Which one is it?
Very top one. Between section 15 and 16, 48.9 west of 4, that it be removed from the road allowance lease list. Okay, thanks, Oscar. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, request for meeting with the minister.
I know we've met with him previous 2 or 3 conventions, so there's a note that came out, an email inviting us to put a request. It's not necessarily guaranteed, but we'll be put in the queue and see if we get an actual opportunity. So does council want to ask for a meeting with the Minister of Municipal Affairs?
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
To what would you bring up, though? Are you just gonna greet him and say, hello, it's nice to be
No,
here?
I
Or
think
is there
that-
actually items on the agenda?
Yeah, I think there's some stuff that we need to talk about. One is that, well,
And
Bridges.
you got Bridges on there every year and everybody else
Bridges
hears
isn't
it
his,
too.
Bridges is transportation. I mean, you can bring up a bridge, but that's gonna forward it. But I think we should talk about the LGFF. For
Yeah,
one.
that's,
The
sorry.
LGFF, I think we should talk about that. I think we should talk about some of the assessments we talked about the well assessments on the dip. I'd like to have a conversation with it.
what's the matter with that?
Well, because we're paying to hire somebody to do their job to the tune of $40,000 a year, or whatever that number is. May not be 40, but I think it's close.
yes, right.
I
And,
thought they were covering that.
No, that's.
No,
the NP pays for it.
they're allowing. They're not, from what I understand, not objecting to their assessment the following year.
Yeah, so what we do is you're correct, Bill, by saying that they cover that. The dip assessment is covered and paid for by the province and then recovered with a special mill rate that we put on to recover from the resource industry. So what we do is we hire an independent consultant to review some of those numbers, and then they provide a report to council once a year, and that's Andy, right? So he gives a report and basically a check and balance on what the dip assessor does in the MD Wainwright. So whether there's any discrepancies, he reports that to council. So that's actually coming up here fairly quickly, and I believe the number is it 80,000 per year?
Oh, guess I was out a bit.
Maybe I'm thinking of a 2-year contract. Maybe
Yeah,
it is 40.
I thought it was 40, but I just think they're supposed to be doing that, right? And I mean, the benefit is they're accepting his numbers, but we're a year out
His
on the.
numbers are high.
But we're a year out on getting the money.
Yeah. But
Unless you don't want to have that discussion.
No, that's fine.
No, that's the truth.
That's all I'm asking. I'm
Yeah.
only asking why we're meeting.
Yeah, That's the 2 points I would
Yeah.
have the discussion with.
I,
Otherwise, there's nothing else. LGFF has turned out beneficial for us.
yes, that's true.
So
I
I
was
think
just
it's-
wondering about health in Wainwright.
Is it redundant to talk about the hospital, because everybody needs one, but a lot of our funding's going to Vermillion?
Well,
We
I
can't
mean,
control any of that.
we're having a meeting tomorrow morning about the hospital, so.
I don't think I'm even gonna go.
Yeah, well, it's
You're
up-
talking a
with
waste of time,
It's not promising.
Janice.
What, for new hospital or renovation?
Well,
Any
we'll
of it.
find, we'll have more information tomorrow.
Okay.
I just called for a meeting tomorrow morning. So,
And that's with the minister?
no, it's with somebody in HS. But I think, if you want to talk about things that are outside municipal affairs, why don't we try setting up meetings with those that you want to talk to? Like,
Yeah, that's fine with me, the health
why
minister.
don't we reach out to if you
Or-
want to talk about hospitals, reach out to the Minister of Health.
Or the
if-
Minister of
Or if
Infrastructure.
you want to talk to
Who's-
infrastructure.
that-
Because, we can take all this stuff to the municipal affairs, and all he does is say, thank you very much,
Yeah.
here's the letter. And then sometimes you get a response from that minister, sometimes you don't. So if you want to talk to transportation, send something, send out,
I
maybe
agree
that's,
100% with that.
maybe we should be sending letters to the ministers we want to talk to. I mean, I don't want to turn down a
Yeah,
meeting
no,
with
no.
the minister, but let's, why don't we send out a meeting to the health minister and to the transportation minister or whoever in infrastructure.
Minister of Infrastructure.
And because
Yeah.
those two kind of go hand in hand.
Is that'd be the people that build a new hospital or a school?
Yeah.
Yep, infrastructure is the building, the bricks,
Airport.
infrastructure is bricks and mortar and the rest is operations,
I just want to
Well,
tell you a
you'll
little
know, Bruce,
story,
that's your
'cause this
baby.
is a good idea. We
Not
went
getting
to
anywhere.
4 ministers, housing ministers or housing providers. We went to everybody trying to get money for the lodge. This is going back a few years. We chased every minister down, and we finally found one that would sign a piece of paper for us. So by going to finally finding the right people out, you should talk to the person that looks after it, not somebody that's talking
Yeah.
for you and blocking you from getting anything done.
I wouldn't say they're blocking, but it's not their mandate.
They're blocking.
Okay, well, but, I don't know, so maybe we'll have can you write a couple letters to the Minister of
Yep.
Health, Infrastructure, and Transportation? if
Yes,
that's
and
what you want?
I will.
And request, and who knows, they might give us one, they might not.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't ask, I know what,
That's
if you
right.
don't ask, I know
You
which one
don't
you will
ask,
get.
you're not gonna get it, but
Okay,
Go to that meeting.
so we need a motion to request, oops, change that. Can we have a motion to request a meeting with the following ministers? Municipal Affairs, Transportation, Infrastructure, and Health?
Yes,
And can we change that motion to that?
yeah, you can.
And then we'll see what we get?
I'll
Does
make
work
that
for-
motion.
Does that
yeah.
work for everybody?
I'll
Okay.
make that one.
Okay, thanks, Robin. Okay, all in favor? Opposed, or any? It's carried. Okay, Canada Day celebration.
That's the standard
Yep,
amount, isn't
yep,
it?
yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thanks, Bruce.
It's $500 more than last year, but.
Oh, is it?
not significant.
Oh, yeah, it was 5,000. Well, things are going up a bit, but it's still a good partnership.
Fireworks went up.
Okay, all in favor of Bruce's motion? Opposed, or any? It's carried. Okay, your contacts and the bulletins, and next is an RFP to join the Alberta Saskatchewan Incident Support Team.
Yeah.
Okay. Do
Is
you want to
Shaw-
give
Okay,
the
I can
background
speak on
and
it.
I'll fill
Sure.
in?
So the advisory committee for the regional emergency response in the MD Wainwright met and had a presentation from ASSIST, which is the Alberta and Saskatchewan Incident Support Team. So what they do is they provide support to your ECC in times of need. So there's an opportunity, and it's a group of municipalities that started this back in, I don't know, a number of years. But they do a lot of training opportunities, and they compile a team that does travel around in need. It doesn't have to be a team; it could be individuals that help out in an ECC emergency coordination center in a disaster situation. So what we talked about at the advisor committee on these resources, or the secretary of that, is that each council would possibly entertain having a representative from our area sit on that committee or be a member of that committee. So I'm looking at the wrong.
Yeah, so actually, there's no, the benefit that we saw from the committee is that if we have a disaster here, they send the top end people, like your incident commanders and the people that are involved. It's not equipment. I mean, you can request equipment. It's not equipment or people on the ground. It's the ones that run it. So we don't have a lot of these people. So if they get burnt out, we really got nowhere to turn. Where if we belong to this thing, you can draw on them people, and there's no cost to it.
The only cost would be
To send them to
send this person, but we'd recoup that from assist eventually at some point.
At some point.
And the way it works is we'd appoint an individual, not the municipality.
Yeah,
would
it's
join.
not the MD that it would.
Yeah.
It would be probably the director of emergency services would be the one we appoint.
That's just the mayor's.
But every the authority or the committee doesn't have the authority to enter into agreements. So every municipality would have to enter into an agreement to move this forward.
Or approve of the DEM to sit on that board.
Yeah, I think
as of today, it's just the mayors and Reeve that sit on that board.
Yeah, on the advisory committee.
On the
yes.
advisory committee, yeah. So.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, thanks, Councilman. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. Development.
What's this?
Kenny's trying to get back.
Oh, that's why her car's sitting at won't start.
That's why I should have said it to goddamn M, not in my spot. Thank God.
Who is that? Is that like Kenny out there working on it? Like our Kenny?
Yeah. Our staff, our Kenny.
Ah.
They're both our staff.
When you're trying to phone Kenny.
I will.
So did you get everything cleaned out?
I should have phoned Kenny yesterday.
Life's good.
Why, did your truck break down? Hey, Dana.
Good morning.
And how are you this morning?
I'm good. How about you?
Good, good. Okay, we have development report in front of us. Any comments or questions on it?
So have you got any new developments coming in yet?
A lot of inquiries for the year.
Inquiries.
Yeah, I think there'll be quite a bit for MPC next month.
So they're taking out applications?
Asking questions.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anybody else have questions? Can I get a motion to approve her report, please?
I will.
Okay. Thanks, Richard. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Okay.
Can we get Dana to put development officer on her email so I don't scratch them out? Because I think they're
There's spam?
Yeah,
Oh, you
in
can
the
take that
subject
up
line.
with whoever you need to get.
all of our administration. now
Could you
send-
speak into the mic?
Send them out on email.
What's he saying over
So
there?
some of them, I believe, because I don't really know the name. You know, so if it has MD, then I read it.
Oh, I see.
What did he say?
Nothing. I think Kelly.
Basically nothing, Bruce.
Yeah. Well, you guys can work on that. Okay, Ribstone. Looks like we've come to a place where we can make a decision. Good job.
So do
Lots of
we just
research.
take a felt pen and scratch the word Ribstone out and we're done with it?
So under the MGA, you have to act the same way. So if you made a bylaw,
Yeah.
then you make a bylaw to undo something. After extensive research, it was very informal. There was never a bylaw, never a motion. It just simply became called a hamlet.
Okay.
So to undo an informal action is a bit challenging. So you don't need to do a bylaw. It could be simply a motion.
Okay, and away we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
At
So,
which,
sorry.
I'm just going to say, it would then be referred to potentially as a locality. That's what we refer to Heath and Jarrow, as a locality going
Locality.
forward.
So we just have to make a motion to remove it, the designation of hamlet.
Yeah, so there's an option if you want to have some sort of public engagement, or you could make a motion, or you could do both.
I think I'll pass a motion to remove the informal designation of hamlet, which would be option 2.
Yeah.
I don't think we need option 1.
Yeah, why go through?
You
it?
haven't had any residential flack, anyone that's there or anything?
No inquiries, no.
They know it's coming.
I don't believe so.
Any comments, Oscar?
So, the hamlet status, we have proceeded with making all them lots under one, so they become acres.
There hasn't been any changes in my time here to any of the lots.
That's pretty short.
Originally, that's, you're all supposed to do, like, John Wildemore has 15 lots. They should, we were putting all of them under one, so there couldn't be development, because there's no water there, right? Barely enough water to maintain what's there. So that's why we went to make them into acreages
Okay.
and delete the hamlet status, yeah.
Okay. It looks like some of the lots have been consolidated, but I can't guarantee that all of them have.
Not all.
So, but it won't make any difference if they want to consolidate the rest of them, whether it's a
No,
hamlet or locale.
Our name's not on any of them.
So I'm not.
The MD does hold some
Okay.
lots.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think we need to notify them?
So it has to do.
I don't know the history years.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I think, to me, you're making they're talking about public engagement here, and I don't think it's necessary
No.
unless you do.
It doesn't change anything out there as far as any kind of living conditions or something. It just changes, just the designation, that's it. So I mean, as far as this motion being passed, as a courtesy, I think we probably would just notify them by sending a letter, right? I mean,
That your
could be an option.
designation has changed from hamlet to locale.
Doesn't change the
You could do
tax.
that with the tax notice. Put it in there. I don't think you have to go to any expense.
How many
for this.
people live there?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Says
6,
5.
10 people.
I've got a question.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, Bruce. Yeah.
Dan was saying that we own land out there. What do we do with it?
What do we do with it?
What are we doing with it? Is it vacant? Is it a grazing lease or what is it?
He said we own land out there. The MD does.
We have some
Oh,
lots.
I believe, yeah, that they, from tax,
Tax arrears, one's on, yeah, we do have some land there that haven't been settled to be put into acreages. Some are wanted to separate them out and put them into a quarter, but council chose not to let them do that. So we don't, no, I don't think we own anything that hasn't already been sold off. We bought some land, John Wildemore bought some from the MD, and so did Diane and Brent Nicholson, so that we could go into an acreage situation.
So we don't own anything, you're saying?
We still do own some lots there, but not very many, no.
And who takes care of them?
We do. The MD does. John Wildemore cuts most of the grass on them lots and keeps them clean. But he's
So
getting
like,
up,
I mean, we're renewing leases right now, so are they leased or what are they?
nobody
There's
uses them.
nothing.
They're nothing.
They're a lot in a town, or a lot in a hamlet. They're vacant. There's nothing there.
There's nothing
It's
there.
just a
No,
50
I'm
by,
just wondering if they should be changed to.
well, the only thing you could probably do is put them up for sale, or two things. Put them up for sale, or see if the adjoining landowner, we could amalgamate into the adjoining landowner's property. Yeah.
Right,
Or,
and-
or a third is do nothing.
We use them for, the one portion is used for garbage collection, Bruce.
Oh, I
And we did drill a well on the one when they were putting it, because the road infrastructure was there for the water for the farmers to use. But when we realized, when we did the drilling of the well, if a guy flushed his toilet, because we had to do a study, put down a pressure thing, we could see it on the well we drilled, so we had to abandon that because we had drained ribstone of water. 22 years ago when I got in, they had a plan and a government grant to put water and sewer in
Yeah.
ribstone, and it would have cost us roughly $5 million back then for 10 houses. So that was scrapped because it would have revolted back to the taxpayers, and that's where this all came from, is to make them into acreages and the MD sell their property to the people that are adjoining to them.
Okay.
Okay?
So it doesn't change anything for the taxpayer going from a hamlet to a country residential now?
It doesn't change
their
nothing,
taxes or
no.
anything? I still think I'd like to see some notification after our whole land use bylaw thing, so that it doesn't look like you're
Sneaking in.
just doing something because you feel like it.
Yeah,
Does that
no,
make
that
sense?
makes sense.
We're not in a subdivision of Wainwright out there.
I don't care. I just think it's,
I do.
but you're.
Well, I don't think, there's only 10, I think because of the discussion, it wouldn't hurt to send 10 letters out to say
No,
that we're
it's not
changing
gonna cost
now.
you anything. Less than a
But-
fence.
I should take the money out for 10 cents.
Well, I mean, we've had the discussion, it's gonna come public pretty quick. We might as well send a letter out to them. You can
It's
still
a-
go with option 2 with a letter.
It's a courtesy, yeah.
Did you make that motion, Bill?
I did, that
Yeah.
was,
I know.
20 minutes ago.
Well, I know, but it's, you know how discussion goes. Okay, so you okay adding a letter to that? To the 10 people, or whatever it is? Okay, all in favor of Bill's motion? Opposed?
Thank God that one's over.
Well, good job, Dana, that one's been hanging around for a while.
You're doing a good job, too. I really appreciate working with you.
Thank you.
He wants.
Yeah, except he's not getting your emails or anything from you,
Yep,
but boy, he likes
He
working
doesn't
with
even
you.
know you work here.
Okay, public hearing for bylaws, 1689. So we need to set a date for the public hearing.
So between the first and the second reading, it's required to have a public hearing according to the NGA.
Okay,
So when's a good time to have one?
well, next council meeting.
Before the council meeting, wouldn't it be? During.
No, it's got to,
No, during,
it's just a
right.
public
Oh,
hearing.
it's just, right, okay.
10 o'clock.
So I'll make a motion that we do it next meeting,
Okay,
February,
okay,
Valentine's.
10 o'clock. Is that what you want to do it? Okay,
Okay.
all in favor of Bruce's motion?
Yep.
Opposed, nay, it's carried. Okay, reclamation, gravel pit. We've got a couple of pits that we're looking to get some certificates on.
Yeah, so this is for one pit, and it's required that you do so within 3 years of when it's been revegetated, and it's been revegetated since 2022.
Okay,
So it's ready.
okay, need a motion to approve it?
Which one's that
Okay.
one?
Northwest 2441.
That's all, I got, Mike's already made it.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, 5-year, 2024-25 gravel pit 5-year report.
So legislatively, we need to submit 5-year reports, and these ones are due on the later part of 2024 and very early 2025. So an estimate has been received, and in order to get scheduled in and kind of in queue, bringing that forward at this time.
Okay, so let's back up a bit. What do you gotta do? What are they doing?
So the 5-year report, so they will do, it has to be by a qualified professional doing it on our behalf, and they will review the stockpiles, the active areas, a bunch of information, and submit it to.
What qualifies them as a professional?
Their credentials. So these ones are a soil specialist and an aggregate specialist. that have submitted the consulting rate.
A soil specialist?
And an aggregate specialist.
Okay. We have none of them on board with the MD.
No.
Okay.
I don't think you can use, I think you have to use a consultant for this, even if you.
Even if you got them?
Even if you got them. We were at RMA last year, there was a big discussion about this, about using in-house, and the governments, I think you still have to use a consultant. Even if you have, because the people like in Central, like Red Deer, and they got lots of gravel, and that was their argument, is they have people on staff and the government would not accept their report. And they still, and so what they did is their in-house people did it, and then they had to hire a firm to come and to stamp their report.
Yeah, you didn't say that here, so that's
No,
all
but I mean, I remember having that discussion
Yeah,
with RMA, that they wouldn't allow in-house. And actually, it was at the Bear Pit session, I remember them talking about it. It was brought up to the minister, and it was, we'll look into it, but nothing's changed. So.
So we'll send a directive out, and then somebody will bid on this?
No, no, it's
we
already
got a price estimate from Bear North Consulting.
30 grand.
30 grand.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we take option 1.
Okay.
It just seems like, it just seems like me, license to print money. Is that 30,000 per pit or 30,000 for 5?
For 5.
It's got all 5 listed there.
Travel,
Travel
is.
expense.
under one contract?
That's, yeah.
Yes.
Under one contract to get it done? No succession years or anything like that?
This is just a one-time. for the
One-time
5-year.
fee?
Yeah.
Is there not an engineering firm that we use?
Probably.
Well, I think we better get an advisor first to advise us whether we need an engineer or not. That's what I'm thinking, but.
You're thinking of a different level of government.
Yeah, I'm just waiting
Yeah.
for the discussion to end very quickly, but I'm going to call the question. All in favor of the motion? Opposed? It's carried. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Pay sheets. Need a motion so people can get paid.
Billy?
Thanks, Bill. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, reports. Seed cleaning plant, yeah, never had no meeting. Edgerton.
Edgerton, we had a meeting December 20th. November to then was 20,000 bushels cleaned, and they put out discounts on outdated or stock that's been there over a year, and that's about it.
Okay. FCS.
We didn't have a meeting last month. We have one Thursday.
Okay. The Battle River Foundation.
You want to speak? We had our meeting last night. Things are going really well. We're up to 91 residents, which is really nice. We have 3 showers in. They're the step-through showers, and they've been accepted quite nicely. And we have 3 left to install. Yeah. What else, Oscar?
No, that's right. We've got 6 already installed and 3 left to go.
Yep.
And just do a follow-up. Robin's doing a very good job as the board chair. Everybody seems to be taken to her quite handily.
Way to go.
Just
Way to go,
stop.
Robin.
I need a minute.
Oh.
Other than that, from what they can hear.
Okay, the landfill. Okay, had a meeting last month. Everything's going about normal. The Oil recycling, they've received 900 and some liters of oil so far. There's a conference at the end of February they're going to attend. We have to meet with the, we're meeting with the MLA on, we're over or exceeded our tons, but this has happened in the past, so we're meeting with the government to see if we can get that pit expanded. And so we're meeting with some folks from the government in the next, well, it was supposed to be Monday, but now it's backed off till next month. We're looking at redoing a recycling pad. There's tenders going up for that. Well, other than that, Robin, anything else? Okay.
We just a question there.
Yeah.
What exceeded what tonnage? What do you mean exceeded?
Oh, so we're
tonnage?
licensed for 10,000 tons a year. That's
Is
all
that, and what have you been putting in there?
for 10,000 tons. No, it's
Nope.
per year.
A year.
Yeah, because we're a class, the class of pit we are only allows us to have 10,000 tons. And so whenever we get a big something happening in the MD, where we get a big amount of refuge come in, it happens to put us over. And usually when that happens is when there's somebody doing, whether something at camp was cleaned up or something in the town or
Yeah.
something from the MD, then that bumps us up in those months. So we have to stay underneath that 10,000 tons. If we're not, we have to report it and meet with the appropriate bureaucrats and explain it. And this has happened, I think, 3 times in the last 10 years. So we've got a request in front of the department to expand our tons.
Oh, okay.
And this has been going on for about 2.5 years, 3 years. And it's a very slow process, mainly because bureaucrats keep changing. So you keep dealing with a new person. But our consultant, the last one he met with, he said he felt quite positive that we're going to get some results because he's got a working relationship with this guy. So we report, which we have to do, but we're also requesting more tonnage because of our growing community. Okay.
Do you guys get charged on the cement too that's put in there and you crushed?
Yeah, we get paid for it. We don't
When it
get
comes
charged.
in? But is that part of your tonnage?
Nope. No.
Straight into the landfill.
No, it's just whatever goes into the landfill. Okay, East Central 911.
We had a meeting, it was executive. We're still looking into those recorders and that, to upgrade to this new system for when the radios come.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's about it. It was a pretty quick meeting, so.
Just so you know, transportation is picking up too much.
So, yeah, right.
So no grading.
So the Health Foundation, Bill?
Yeah, not a lot, just Dr. Hay retired at the end of the year, so they're just on Wednesday, they're gonna have a come and go thing at the hospital there from 10:30 to 2, I believe, and the foundation bought him a parting gift. I don't really think other than that, we have a meeting tomorrow. There's supposedly a meeting to discuss the developments that occurred when this tool was used to assess the hospital. They're just coming back and give us the results of that. Other than that, I got not much.
Okay. Northern Lights.
We haven't met in December, like if we did, it was a quick Zoom thing, but no, coming up.
Okay. Economic Development.
Well, we had a meeting here January 9th. The MLA office relocation was brought up, and via rail is going to stop coming through Wainwright and go up through Lloyd.
Is that for sure?
No, it's up for discussion right now, but sounding is going probably go through higher populations through there, like through Lloyd,
Highway
Bakerville.
60.
You know,
Via
Via.
rail.
Via
via
rail.
rail. what else was there? Oh, it's 100 years for the old clock next year. So they're going to do some calibration around the clock sometime next year. And what else was there? Some building closures. Oh, and we talked about the MD, environmental development assessment, some. That was about it.
When do we get our report from our gentleman that lives overseas for economic development?
We did.
Well, obviously gonna give you that report.
He hasn't,
We're
He's on a
yes,
boat.
We are working with him to finalize that report for council.
Okay.
My daughter went to see him. He's in Costa Rica.
I just wondered when he was flying,
He was in Wainwright, the meeting was,
flying home for a meeting.
Hole, right? Is his name?
okay, anything else
checking
come before the
Bill.
or before these reports? Anybody got any questions or comments? If not, motion to approve is presented. Okay, thanks, Bill.
That.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Nothing else to come before the meeting? Call for an adjournment. Oh,
Got a
oh,
Are we going in camera?
I don't have it in my sheet.
We're in camera?
Yeah.
says on mine in camera.
Okay.
I'll
I
make
di-
a motion.
Okay, good. Okay, all in favor? Yeah, I didn't make it too much, it didn't, it's not Need a motion to adjourn, Mr. Bill.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you.